And with this background of various experiences, which I didn't share widely, only very selectively, a friend of mine who wrote an interesting book in my own way, Alan Watts, describes me as a jnana yogi. He says, Pierre, he says, you are a jnana yoga. Someone who reaches realization with the mind alone. And he called me, therefore, a true jnana yoga whose enlightenment comes through the mind. And I went around saying to myself, well, I don't know whether that's really true. I mean, just because I had those experiences, am I or am I not a jnana yogi? So that caused me to go into even further into these kinds of studies, and studied Buddhism and Hinduism and many of these other subjects with this question, well, you know, is Alan right? He jokes a lot. And let me share something, kind of a fun story. Years ago, Alan came up to me, and when I was teaching, he gave me a fellowship where we were going to school. I was going to the American Academy of Asian Studies. Alan Watts was there. And he called me one day. He said, Pierre, I'm going to give you a lectureship in comparative philosophy. I said, gee, you know, good, good. And a short while later, he came up to me and he said, Pierre, he said, I'm going to feature you on my radio show. He was doing KPFA in San Francisco. He said, you might want to listen to it. Well, when I finally did hear the program, which took several weeks because he couldn't determine when it was on, they had it on tape. He never once mentioned my name. He described everything I did, never mentioned my name. So later, when he wrote his book, he came up and he said, Pierre, don't worry about it. I put your name in it this time. So what did that do? That drove me to try to figure out, is he right or is he not? Now, he jokes all the time. So do I. So, you know, was he joking? Was he not joking? So I made the rounds with Yasutani Roshi and Kori Roshi and Maizumi Roshi. And something curious happened. I knew a group of people, and I was working with them, and they were close to these enlightenment states, only they were blocked. They were blocked. They were blocked. And so when we were at these sessions, and Buddha sessions, we'd take walks around the block, and they'd say, hey, I think I'm stuck, and I'd talk to them and bring about a breakthrough in their problem. I did not help them gain enlightenment. I helped them break through what was blocking them. So Yasutani used to say, and as he said later during these sessions, there are two Roshis going on here. There's a second Roshi at these sessions. And I said, I'm not a Roshi. I just happen to know some good questions on how to break people free from their problems. That's all. So I said, wait a minute, is he right? I mean, is he doing the same thing that Alan was doing? Am I or am I not in this curious game where I can say that I'm a teacher? I said, no, I'm no teacher. No. So then came, there's something wrong here. I better examine myself. So I began challenging what I call the unquestioned. You have to figure out what it is you can't question to understand yourself. I mean, because a belief is of such a nature that you think it's true, therefore you don't recognize it as a belief. I mean, a belief is something you think is true. It's a false belief. A false belief that you think is true. So therefore I went around saying to myself, I wonder if I can find a Roshi who can really put this just, you know, she can say no, yes, no. I said, no, I don't want that at all. I want to see whether or not, independent of them, whether or not I am a teacher. So I went around, yes, you are, to some of them, no, you're not. And the game went on and on. Well, Muktananda went with Muktananda as well. He was into philosophy. He was into a very similar kind of sponda criticas, which is very similar to the Parmenides third hypothesis. And that was kin, that was real fine. I went in with that, and we explored the dialectic. By heavens, I was thinking of joining them. He died, though, thank goodness, because it saved me the decision whether I wanted to go any further with him. I was very fortunate to save me the whole issue. And therefore I could escape with, therefore, still not being a teacher. So one night, though, he did put a crown of flowers on me. And I said, nice flowers. I gave them to someone else. It upset someone. But, so next, what do you do now? I'm still pushing it. So the only thing out of this, the only way out of this, is to develop this curious art called meditation. Go to the root of existence, forget all of these questions. Now look here. Again, a whole bunch of interesting states of mind emerged. But I still have the perplexing problem. And the perplexing problem, I want to tell you, is very simple. How can I be a teacher? I don't think I have anything to teach. That's all. How can you be a teacher when I don't have anything to teach? And I don't have anything to teach. I can share a few things, but I don't have anything to teach. So therefore, a whole bunch of interesting states of mind emerged. But I'm still left with the curious problem that if I am a teacher, it's that beautiful Buddhist saying, you're really doing nothing other than selling water by the river. No one needs it. They already have it. You're trying to sell something that no one wants, but yet everybody needs. It's available all over. Maybe you can put it in a good bottle and they'll buy it. So there was another Roshi very important to me, Nyobang, who came up and said, "You're playing a game." He said, and I said, "Oh, I probably am." He said, "Yeah." He said, "You don't want to be a teacher, but you're a teacher." I said, "No, I'm not a teacher." He said, "Oh, yeah, sure." He said, "I'll make a deal with you." He said, "I'll translate the Diamond Sutra every Wednesday night and give you a copy, chapter by chapter, but you can't look at it more than 2 or 3 minutes before you get up and talk about the Diamond Sutra." He said, "You'll see that by doing this, that you'll be able to penetrate it, and discuss it, and make it clear to an audience, and therefore you are a teacher." I said, "Ah." He said, "Yeah, don't give me do it." So I took the challenge and I did it. And at the end of it, he said, yeah, there it is." So I said, "Well, wait a minute. It still doesn't make any sense, because just because I'm clever enough to read the Diamond Sutra to his satisfaction and other satisfaction doesn't mean I'm a teacher. It just means I know how to read. That's all." So I went further, all right? And what's curious, don't want to do it yet, is the problem of the egg. Let me give you the problem with the egg. I'm an egg, see? And needs to be hatched. Right, needs to be hatched. Now, I am convinced that there's some eggs that'll never hatch. They're stone ones. They're really marvelous to look at, aren't they? So those stone eggs? Yeah. So, I finally solved the problem. I think I have.